So, I mean, if I want to summarize a bit the content of the survey, it's really Christine Lagarde cannot do a good job as a president, as ECB president, leading the ECB, if she's not trusted by her own staff. So we have made a survey, and it's not the first time we made such survey. We made one also for President Draghi and also one for President Trichet. And we asked staff to look at both the internal side and the external side and give an overall rating. And the first thing that came across that there is a very high dissatisfaction of colleagues and respondents coming from, the internal decision making. 73% say, they don't like that. And then when you try to understand why, well, they basically tell you this is Christine Lagarde has an autocratic leadership style. She's not listening to people. She does it her own way. And she's very much related to the experience we have ourselves, as staff representatives, because Madame Lagarde refused by default to try to seek, mutually agreeable solutions whenever there is a problem. She refused to find compromise. It is her way or the highway. And of course, this is creating, problem in the bank, because whenever you want to speak up, whenever there is a problem you want to reveal, and your, top management tell you, well, they have absolutely no interest to share about that. Well, then people end up, not reporting mistakes, etc. And that can have also an impact, on the way we do monetary policy and we do our job, because then that creates some form of groupthink, and we get it wrong. Now, I mean, the internal dissatisfaction is not the most striking findings, because, it is something that kind of regularly comes, even if in the case of Lagarde, there is a substantial deterioration. But if you want, the ECB president is fully busy are fully busy by their monetary policy, so they tend to overlook internal matters, and for that reason, you can understand that things are not properly necessarily managed.
Right.
But the real news is that, I mean, there was also a poor assessment overall. And then this is something very, very bizarre, because generally staff, when they rate their president, they are not so much interested in internal matters, but they look at how well the president is performing their duties.
Let's break it down, Carlos, because there's a lot to digest there. I mean, one of the comments that we have heard from the ECB in the wake of this survey is that the results are flawed. Address that for us.
I mean, this is I mean, it makes me a bit think like, when you show the moon, then instead of watching at the moon, you look at the finger. I mean, the results we have are perfectly consistent with the results that the ECB made in their own survey. So when President Lagarde yesterday say, oh, actually, our own survey are very bright, well, this is not correct. And she knows perfectly that. And actually, they even were forced to send an email to all ECB staff, the whole board, to say, yes, no, this time we're going to take, the matter seriously. So we have a long experience with all this survey, and there are problems. And I think, no, I mean, it would be the time to tackle it. So my own answer would be, instead of just telling to staff, put yourself in the shoes of staff, and they tell you some things that they know is not true, and how do they feel afterwards? I think it's better to be, a good leader who just listen, acknowledge, and try to find a solution. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing personal in there. It's really about we all want to do a good job for Europe.